Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and autoimmune diseases, skin diseases of all kinds, rosacea, eczema, acne, psoriasis, digestive ailments, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis, and while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, if you've heard something or read something that you'd like clarification on, if you have questions about our Truth Skin Health products or skin health in general, we are here for you on The Bright Side. We welcome your calls at 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. If you have a success story you'd like to share, or if you want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear recommended on the program, please head over to my websites, brightsideben.com or criticalhealthnews.com or pharmacistben.com. You can order products directly off the site. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team right off the website, or you can call the phone team at 866-735-2470. That's 866-735-2470. And of course, if you're interested in checking out our Truth Skin Health products, including our Retinol 5% gel, head over to truthtreatments.com. Check out our blog as well as the products, Truth Retinol Gel, Truth Balm, Truth Serum, and Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream. They're all up at truthtreatments.com. They represent the culmination of my 32 years of being in the skincare business as a pharmacist, as a formulator, as a researcher, as an academician, and as a therapist. You're getting the condensation of everything that I think is important about topical skincare with our Truth Skin Health products. Check them out at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, welcome back to The Bright Side once again. We're talking steroid hormones, fatty hormones, as opposed to peptide hormones. Those are the two major classes of hormones in the body, fatty hormones and watery hormones. Everything in the body is either fatty or watery, or all the chemicals in the body are fatty or watery, or some degree of both. Things like lecithin, for example, are both fatty and watery. Steroid hormones are your fatty hormones, and we've been talking the last few weeks about the steroid hormones in regards to the high-fat way of eating called the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is a high-fat diet. It's also a low-carb diet, and they'll tell you it's a moderate protein diet. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but most especially the ketogenic diet is high-fat and low-carb. Basically, you want to enjoy lots of eggs and coconut oil and dairy and cheese and butter, making sure it's hormone-free and antibiotic, of course. Cold-pressed, fresh nutritional oils that are kept in the refrigerator and used quickly, not heated. Organ meats, fish. These are all good ketogenic foods. They're, especially organ meats and fish are both high protein, or good sources of protein, and also high sources of fat, of good fat. You want to restrict your carb intake to vegetables and maybe small amounts of fruits, although they're not tremendously necessary. Vegetables are necessary, but fruits aren't. Not only will you find yourself losing weight when you do the ketogenic diet, but you'll also be improving athletic performance. You'll be building more muscle. And as far as athletic performance goes, I don't want you to think, like you're an athlete necessarily. Athletic performance can be just having more flexibility. It can mean just having more resilience or more resistance to the body breaking down. You'll be building more muscle. You'll be improving heart health. You'll be improving brain health. All of this is with the ketogenic diet. And, of course, as we spoke yesterday, the ketogenic diet can also be helpful for menopausal symptoms and perimenopausal symptoms. we medicalize everything in this country. The medical model has a way of usurping everything that involves our lifestyle and our lives, including menopause. Menopause is not a sickness. Menopause is not a disease. Menopause is not a medical issue. It shouldn't be a medical issue. Unless you got something wrong with an organ or a structure in the body, menopause is basically just aging. It's part of the age. It's a marker of aging. And aging can be slowed down, but not medically. The best way to deal with the onset of menopausal symptoms, or to slow down the onset of menopausal symptoms, is to slow things down. Reduce inflammation. Eliminate anything that activates the immune system. And this is where food comes in, and this is where the ketogenic diet can play an important role for folks who are dealing with menopause or with perimenopause. If you are approaching that time and you're starting to notice that perimenopausal symptoms are kicking in, you're maybe missing periods or they're irregular, or maybe you're starting to get a little anxiety or insomnia, you want to at least think about exploiting or leveraging the power of the ketogenic diet, the calming diet. The ketogenic diet is a high-fat diet, and our body is designed to burn fat. We're fat burners, although I should say we should be fat burners. But because we're eating so much sugar, sugar becomes our primary fuel. Sugar should be an emergency fuel. That's where sugar excels, is for giving us quick energy to run from a tiger. For the most part, we want to be running on fat. We want to be burning fat. The problem for most of us is because of the standard American diet, we've been convinced we need to eat high-sugar foods, particularly grains and flour. And, of course, because sugar has an addicting quality, because sugar activates happy hormones in the brain, happy brain chemicals, we become hooked on sugar, and we eat lots of sugar. And then we end up being sugar burners. Sugar is incredibly inflammatory. Sugar will trigger the onset of menopausal symptoms faster than any other dietary component of our diet, any other food component. You want to turn on your menopausal symptoms, eat lots of sugar. You want to accelerate the onset of menopause, eat lots of sugar, which is why so many of us so many women are dealing with these kinds of things, these kinds of symptoms: hot flashes, jitteriness, anxiety, insomnia, and then go through their own version of menopause too, by the way. It's called andropause. And everything we're talking about with the ketogenic diet, how it's important for helping with menopausal symptoms or preventing them, slowing down their onset, goes for men too. There's a very important relationship between testosterone and the ketogenic diet, as we talked about before. Ketogenic diet is a building diet. It will reduce inflammation. It will reduce insulin or make insulin more potent. All of these will have a beneficial effect on testosterone too. So if you're a guy dealing with andropause symptoms, as we talked about yesterday, I can call them andropausal symptoms, but that's what they are, you're going to benefit from the ketogenic diet too. This whole thing about insulin is so important to understand. The ketogenic diet works in large part because it deactivates, or at least slows down, the production of insulin, makes the body more sensitive to insulin. Ketogenic diet, because of this whole insulin connection, can reduce the signs of metabolic syndrome, heart health issues, liver disease, Alzheimer's disease, even cancer. Sugar burning leads to cancer. Sugar burning leads to Alzheimer's disease. The more sugar we're burning, the more likely we are to have all of these degenerative health issues. You want to do one thing, just one thing: reduce your calories and reduce your sugar. Running our bodies on sugar leads us to this high blood sugar, low blood sugar roller coaster, and that causes a state of chronic emergency. That will cause the secretion of cortisol. This is where we get off this is where the disease process begins. This is where we enter the disease sweepstakes. And none of this has anything to do with your doctor. None of it. Zippo. It's all about lifestyle. Hot flashes, insomnia, anxiety, hypertension, these are all manifestations of a jacked up emergency nervous system, a sympathetic nervous system. If you wanted to put a list together of all of the symptoms that are associated with a hyped up sympathetic nervous system, your stress nervous system, it would read like a checklist of menopausal symptoms. They're the same thing. They're identical. Menopausal symptoms represent activation of the emergency nervous system, which tells you that anything you could do to calm the body down, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation nervous system, is going to help you improve your menopausal symptoms and andropausal symptoms too. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back right after this. back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thank you for being here. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive pages at brightsideben.com. Also, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com are websites where you can purchase longevity products and sign up to join the Brightside Ben team. We blog on both of those, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com. Thank you to John T. Collier and Robert Lundgren for setting those up. And if you want to talk to a real live flesh and blood longevity representative, you can call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. They can answer all your questions, and of course you can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team. For a one-time $25 fee, you can help me in my mission to educate the world about how important and powerful a good nutritional supplement program can be. You can also make some money selling longevity products and help spread the word about good nutrition and good nutritional supplementation. Okay, 844-236-6010 is our number. We got lines open for you. We'll get to your calls here in our next segment, 844-236-6010. We're talking about menopause and andropause and the ketogenic diet, and skin health and hormones. And menopause and andropause are signs of aging is the bottom line here. And that means that we have some control. We have control over slowing down the aging process. It's not a doctor issue. There are no drugs that can slow down the aging process. Every single last one of them will speed up the aging process, but there's no drugs that can slow it down. And if you understand that menopause and andropause are really markers of aging, you can see why it's none of the doctor's business, really. And if we do end up using hormone replacement therapy, there's a good chance that we're going to run into problems. If you're a woman or a man dealing with considering hormone replacement therapy, which typically involves estrogen if you're a woman and testosterone if you're a man, there's other options that you, in my opinion, there's other options that you want to consider first. First of all, if you're strong and you're healthy, then using hormone replacement therapy is not as problematic. Where we really run into a problem with hormone replacement therapy is when we're sick or sickly, or our bodies are breaking down, and our doctor then gives us hormones. That does nothing but jack up the system, a sick system, a fragile system. On the other hand, if you work on the breakdown, if you work on your liver and your digestive system, if you work on the parts of the body that are breaking down, your blood sugar system, you may not even need the hormone replacement therapy. And then if you do the hormone replacement therapy, you're going to get much better results. It'll be much more effective. HRT is much more effective if you're already healthy. Of course, if you're already healthy, the question is, why would you do HRT? But nonetheless, HRT is a problem. Hormone replacement therapy is a problem if our bodies are sick and then we get the hormones, especially if we have a digestive problem, because HRT, hormone replacement therapy, particularly estrogen, is dependent on effective clearance of the hormones from the digestive tract. HRT's benefits depend on how we process estrogen at the digestive system level. If you're dealing with dysbiosis, you're not going to process estrogen correctly. If you're dysbiosis, meaning messed up gut bacteria. If you have a problem with your gut bacteria, if you have a problem with the liver, if you have a problem with the gallbladder, or if you, God forbid, don't have a gallbladder, if you have problems with with stomach acid, if you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or irritable bowel syndrome, all of these are going to make it much more difficult for your body to process estrogen. If you're sick and your cells are sick, you're not going to be able to use the estrogen. See, all of this points to the fact that you want to be healthy and strong first before you get your hormone replacement therapy. The only people who should ever do HRT, in my opinion, are folks who are, other than hormone depletion, are strong and are healthy. And the cells themselves, remember, all disease is cell disease. Hormones don't work by themselves. They work because they affect cells, but that means the cell's got to be able to accept the hormone. That means the cell has to be healthy. All of this is to say, get on a nutritional supplement program, take care of the diet, stabilize the blood sugar, reduce your cortisol. These are all the things we talk about every day. You know, you guys, you're going to get sick of hearing me say this, but it's the same thing over and over and over again. Work on the digestive system, stabilize the blood sugar, stabilize or reduce cortisol secretion, make sure you're relaxing the body, don't eat so much sweets, exercise a little bit. These are all the same things that we have to do if we want to stay healthy, because at the end of the day, menopausal symptoms and andropausal symptoms are signs of an accelerated aging or signs of aging. HRT, for the most part, isn't going to involve nutrition and dietary strategies, and it rarely will involve digestive support or liver health. This is why so many folks don't benefit from HRT, and this is why hormone replacement therapy, by the way, has been associated with toxicity, autoimmune diseases, blood clots, even cancer. According to the Women's Health Initiative, which was a 15-year study that followed 160,000 plus postmenopausal women who took combination therapy, estrogen and progestin, had increased risks of heart disease. On the other hand, the ketogenic diet may be helpful in reducing all of the symptoms of menopause, every last one of them, as particularly the brain ones. Anxiety, jitteriness, irritability, sleep disturbances, not to mention cardiovascular health issues. The ketogenic diet is important for all these systems, and all of these systems are also where we end up with problems in menopause. And then calming hormones as well, progesterone. In my opinion, progesterone should be the first hormone replacement therapy hormone to consider. It should be the first prescription you get. If you're going to do hormone replacement therapy, try progesterone first. It's much more mild than estrogen. It's got calming benefits. It's important for the brain. The body concentrates it in the brain. It can help with migraine headaches. It can help with the emotional ups and downs of menopause and andropause. It can be beneficial for folks dealing with seizure disorders, as we said yesterday, bone health, libido. It can help improve building a muscle. It's like a second type of testosterone. It has a lot of similarities to testosterone. It can improve sleep. And because sleep and testosterone are connected, for guys dealing with andropause, make sure you're getting enough rest. The more quality of your sleep, the more testosterone you're going to make. Of course, if you're subsisting on the standard American diet, which is 60% or 70% processed food and sugar, that's not going to happen. As we get older, we start to make more cortisol anyway, more stress hormone anyway, just from being alive, which is such a stressful thing for most of us. But if you throw in the standard American diet, which is a cortisol diet, basically, a high cortisol diet, now you're going to be dealing with more breakdown, more slowdown in muscle growth, problems with bone building and repair. All of this is from sleep, lack of sleep. Lack of sleep decreases our ability to build, decreases our testosterone. The downward spiral of aging and frailty and ultimately of disease can then show up. All of this can be broken by getting enough sleep, by using progesterone, by eating less food, by intermittent fasting, by strength training, flexibility training, and of course the modified ketogenic diet. High fat, low carb, and moderate protein. Progesterone is extremely important for the brain, for mental health. It's concentrated in the brain up to 20 times from the blood. It can help with brain injury, speed the healing of brain tissue after it's injured. It's an anti-anxiety hormone. It's a natural Prozac. Progesterone is a natural Prozac. It works with serotonin in the brain. It helps improve our ability to deal with the ups and downs of life, of day-to-day life, which is what serotonin does. All right, so much more to talk about. We'll take your phone calls when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number, 6010. 844-236-6010. We'll be back after this. Okay, welcome back to the Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for being here. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on our archive pages at brightsideben.com. 844-236-6010 is our number on the Bright Side, and we'll get your calls here in just a second, so hang on. This is from the journal. This is from the annual conference of the British Psychological Society. Guess what? Bored people reach for potato chips. That's the conclusion of a study of 52 participants from England. No reason to think it's not the same here. Why? Because fatty and sugary foods hype up the brain, make the brain happy. Dopamine, our reward center, is activated by fatty and sugary foods. So what do? Well, you eat good fats and you eat good sugar. That's where vegetables come in. You can release the sugars from veggies by braising them, by heating them, by steaming them somehow, and then use lots of yummy butter and coconut oil, and don't forget your salt. So if you're bored and you want to hype up your brain a little bit and get that dopamine going, use Brussels sprouts or broccoli and butter and lots of salt. This one here from the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, almost half of Alzheimer's cases are due to insulin, hyperinsulin, I should say. This is the blood sugar connection, once again demonstrating that if you want to do one thing to stay healthy, to keep your brain healthy, to reduce or slow down the aging process and the symptoms of accelerated aging, including dementia, including cognitive difficulties, reduce your intake of the sugars, eat more veggies, go ketogenic, eat more protein, particularly branched chain amino acid rich protein like whey protein and egg protein and animal protein, and sorry to my vegetarian friends. If you're a vegetarian and you want to up your intake of branched chain amino acids for improving satisfaction and reducing sugar intake, use beans and soy particularly, and also mushrooms, which are a source of some of these branched chain amino acids. Mushrooms are really interesting when it comes to protein foods. Mushrooms are like a cross between an animal food and a vegetable food. So you get a lot of the benefits of animal foods by eating mushrooms, including, by the way, vitamin D. So vegetarians might want to consider using mushrooms or eating lots of mushrooms, enjoying mushrooms. If you're a vegetarian, you got to be very, very careful with what you eat and your nutritional intake. Not that it can't be done. 844-236-6010 is our number. Carl, the Truth Raider, what's going on, man? Welcome to the bright side.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, is it the truth that you named your Truth Treatment products after the Truth Raider himself?
No, that's not true, but I would have if I knew you then. I probably would have.
Yeah, I think you were pulling my leg about that.
Did I tell you that?
When you first coming up with it. I said no.
Oh, I told you that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I might have been pulling your leg.
Well, after all these years, it sounds consistent with...
okay, you know what? I will honorarily name it after you, Truth Raider.
Thanks, Ben.
What's going on?
This difficulty I'm having in my left tonsil, I've discovered inside the back and the adenoid in the lower part in there, in the pocket, there is a white little spot of pus back in there.
That's not good. Here's the deal. Your lymph, your tonsils are part of your lymph. Your lymph is your waste management system, waste elimination system. It's the sewage pipes of the body. Right. Interestingly, in addition to being the sewage pipes, it also transports nutrition. So when the lymph gets clogged up, not only are you going to be running a risk for increased problems with your immune system because you're not going to be able to clear poisons out as effectively, you're also going to run nutritionally deficient, particularly in fatty vitamins, which are important for the immune system. So it's really important that you move the lymph around. Two things to do if you're dealing with tonsils issues or any kind of lymphatic congestion, lymphedema, any kind of lymph issues, and most of us are as we age. Move your body. Get on a rebounder. Hang upside down on an inversion device. Take walks. Get on a treadmill. Run. Exercise. Breathe deeply. Breathing pushes lymphatic fluid. So deep breathing. Anything you could do to move the body, including deep breathing, moving the muscles in and out, anything you do to move the muscles, I should say, is very important for helping improve circulation of lymph. The second thing is controlling any toxins that get into the system. The lymph becomes congested primarily from digestive toxins. No surprise there. There's a big opening from the intestine right into the lymph. And so when we eat foods that are causing immune activity at the intestinal level, things like gluten or other plant defense molecules, lectins, lectins, or homogenized milk, any kind of small fat particles, these all get dumped into the lymph and they can exacerbate lymphatic congestion. So in addition to moving the lymph, you got to stop the toxicity from getting into the lymph. I'd be fasting if I were you, Carl, and I'd also be using the Suero V cleanse, and I'd be very, very vigilant, extremely vigilant to any foods that cause digestive distress, and of course eliminating them. This is exactly the same stuff that we talk about every single day here on the Bright Side. And in fact, one of the main reasons why our bodies break down, one of the main reasons why we get cancer and why we get heart disease and why we get autoimmune disease is because of the lymph, because the lymph is clogged up. So all the strategies that we talk about here, from the ketogenic diet to reducing food intake and intermittent fasting, all of these are lymphatic cleansing strategies. So go back to the archives. I know you've been listening a lot, so you know all the things to do, Carl, the Truth Raider, but I'm glad you brought it up anyway. I appreciate it. I'm going to motivate here, Carl. Anything else you want to add?
No, it first started out with a piece of food, I think, that was stuck.
It's not a piece of food that's stuck. No, it's not a piece of food that's stuck. That doesn't happen. The food doesn't get stuck in the lymph, but particles can activate an immune response, which then can create clogging. That can happen. Okay. And again, that's all the digestive strategies. Don't forget the probiotics and the fermented food. They're very important for the lymph as well. Okay, Carl, have a great day, man. Talk to you later, buddy. Okay, bye-bye. All right, let's see. Dave in Connecticut. What's going on, man? Welcome to the bright side.
How you doing, Ben?
Hey, good morning.
2 quick questions. I'll go really quickly here. One is about an additive that's inside a lot of the longevity products that some people are just asking me questions about.
Sure, what is it?
Maltodextrin.
Okay.
And then the other question is about the ketogenic diet. They say that you cannot reach ketosis unless you're under 5 grams of carbs per day. I don't know about that.
Where did you hear that? That's not true. That's absolutely not true.
Like the huge ketogenic guy, I was just reading.
That's not true. The ketosis occurs on a continuum. Now, you do need to reach he's right about a threshold. There's like a certain point where you have to be at in order for it to kick in. But 5 grams doesn't really mean anything because it depends on what you're, on how much the other foods you're eating. Depends on the amount of fiber that you're getting, for example. It depends on other things. So you don't want to necessarily go by the flat amount. And everybody's going to be different anyway. I'm surprised is he an MD?
He is actually.
Yeah, well, that sounds like something an MD would say. Not everybody's the same. You can't just say 5 grams for everybody. It also depends on the other foods you're eating, the amount of fats that you're eating. And ketosis occurs on a continuum. So some people are going to get more or less. I'm not buying that. As far as maltodextrin goes, maltodextrin is a type of carbohydrate, basically. It is it's derived from various vegetables. It is used in food, in powders mostly, as a thickener. So it creates body. One of the reasons why we like drinks is because of the texture of the drink, or don't like drinks is because of the texture of the drink. It turns out that by thickening a drink just slightly, it becomes more palatable, and that's the purpose of the maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is easily digestible, and it is absorbed as sugar. It doesn't really have a sweet, it doesn't really have a flavor, very much of a flavor. But there's such a tiny amount, it's really not going to affect your blood sugar at all. It's basically inert, and it's used in there to improve the way, they call it mouthfeel, the way a liquid drink tastes and feels on the mouth, make it more palatable. But it's not, it's really basically inert. Why don't you hang on, Dave? We'll take a break, and we'll let you finish up when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we're back on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Dave in Connecticut. David, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so maltodextrin is nothing more than a starch. It's a long chain of sugars, of glucose, just glucose, just strung together. It has a small amount of calories, but it's negligible in the amounts that are in the products. It's basically used as a thickener in those products. It doesn't have much of a flavor or much sweetener. And when I say thickener, I don't mean a heavy thickener, but just to give liquids a slight amount of body, or as they say in the food business, mouth feel, to make them more palatable. It really doesn't do much at all except for that. Does that answer your question? There's no toxin. No, zero. It's glucose. I mean, it's just glucose. It's just a long chain of glucose molecules.
Gotcha.
Did you hear it was toxic from anybody?
Well, yeah, somebody said that they read an article and that they said it's really bad for the body and this and that. I read the article.
Just go to chemistry. It's glucose. As bad for you as glucose, except it's strung together, so it's not straight sugar, although your body can break it. There's a type of maltodextrin called resistant maltodextrin that just acts like a fiber that doesn't even get used by the body. But most maltodextrin is broken up into glucose, and you get small amounts of it, but it's negligible because there's like a speck of it in most products.
Good.
In most longevity products, I should say. Okay, good deal. Thanks, Dave. All right, man. Take care. Okay, let's go to Brenda in Texas. Welcome to The Bright Side, Brenda.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
I was just wanting to talk some more about the estrogen and the progesterone and all that. I've listened a couple of days, and I wondered if you had heard of the BioT natural pellets.
BioT? Is that what you said? BIOT?
BIOTE.
BIOTE, natural pellets. Now, the T I would assume is the testosterone. You get it from a doctor, right?
Yes. And
okay.
I get them there in Colorado from a doctor.
Where in Colorado do you go?
Well, in either Colorado Springs or there in Denver.
Oh, nice.
I'm up from Texas and do that.
They don't have anything in Texas?
Well, they do well, it first started in Houston and Dallas area and all that. They've had them there for several years, but we're up in Amarillo, so
okay.
I'm hearing now that there is 4 or 5 here in town that have them, but when I started it 2 years ago, I knew this doctor already in Colorado Springs, and my daughter lives up there. So, matter of fact, we come through Boulder and stuff 3 or 4 times a year.
Nice. Do you like it?
Yes. And these are, he makes a little slit in your hip.
Yeah, they put little pellets in you.
And puts these in, and he gets them from a pharmacy or whatever, I think in Las Vegas. That's one of the ones that makes it's like 99% pure ingredient that's supposed to be closest to what our body makes.
Okay, well, BioT, as I'm not 100% sure, you may know more about than I do, actually. I think it's testosterone, just male hormone, and not just for men, but for women too. Are you using it, or
yes,
by any chance? Is it just testosterone?
Is it what?
Is it just the hormone testosterone, or do you know?
No, it's estrogen. And,
it's estrogen. Okay. Well,
like he does all the blood work, and we see you know, your levels and all, and start there, and then he gives you some estrogen for the women, and then the last couple of times he's given me a little bit of testosterone also to help carry it on through.
Okay, well, BioT, you know, the way it sounds, it's testosterone. I'll have to look into it because I haven't heard of that brand. Here's the deal, though, with hormone replacement therapy, as I was saying earlier in the program. If you're healthy, your digestive system is healthy, you don't have any bowel problems or gallbladder problems or liver problems, if you're already strong and you want to bump up your hormones as you go into the aging, as you go through the aging process, through menopause or andropause if you're a man, a little hormone replacement therapy may help you. Make sure that you're using other nutritional supplements, though, because you need those to help process those hormones. And if you're not healthy, that's where it becomes a problem. If you're trying to get healthy by using hormone replacement therapy, not only is that not going to work, but it's going to backfire on you. Do you follow me, ma'am? If you're trying to get healthy by being on hormone replacement therapy, it could very well backfire on you, and it's not going to help you anyway, because health is not a hormonal issue first and foremost. It is eventually, but first and foremost, it's a nutritional issue. You follow me with this? Now, if you're healthy, that's different. Then a little bit of hormone replacement therapy may improve your health a little bit. But you got to be healthy first. And so what I'd be doing is I'd be taking care of, if it was me, I'd be taking care of my health first. And then if I needed a little bump up with some testosterone or estrogen, whatever the case may be, then do the hormone replacement therapy. Again, making sure that your digestive system is operating on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, your liver is working correctly, you got your gallbladder, you're using digestive enzymes and bile salts and probiotics and eating fermented foods and eating less calories and reducing your sugar, all the things we talk about on this program, whether or not you're using HRT. But especially if your body is breaking down already, I would be doing all of these strategies first before I went into HRT.
Well, and we've been doing longevity now for about 10 months, so products. And, of course, I do, like I say, have celiac disease, so I've been,
This is where it becomes a problem, ma'am. If you have celiac disease, you're a candidate for toxicity from the hormones. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you have celiac disease, you are a prime candidate for getting toxicity and reactions from the hormones. That's where you're going to run into a problem, because the intestine is responsible for detoxifying that estrogen, and now you've bumped it up. Now you've given your intestine more work to do. You've given the bacteria more work to do in the intestine, and you're already compromised. This is where you really want to be careful, in my humble opinion. Okay, Brenda?
Okay, and so what else? What should I do?
Are you on a probiotic supplement? Are you using probiotics?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Are you eating fermented food?
Well, we just, hearing you talk about that, like the, sauerkraut, we've got that, but when you say eat it, like, how should we eat it? A few
with a
bites
fork.
A day? Well, a few bites a day, though?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What?
A cup a day. A cup of sauerkraut a day.
A cup a day. Okay.
Yeah, it's delicious, and less calories. Keep your blood sugar stable. And remember, celiac disease is said to be gluten intolerance disease, but there's many other things that you can react to. It's not just gluten. So any foods that cause digestive distress have to be eliminated, have to be avoided like the plague. And then vegetable juices, lots of vegetable juices and lots of fiber. Grind up flax seeds. Have you heard me talk about this, Brenda?
Yes, one day I did, yes.
Grind up flax seeds. They'll fill you up. You won't need to eat as much food, and they'll improve your estrogen naturally, and they'll help detoxify the hormones, the hormone replacement. So
okay.
they'll give provide a nice healthy environment for the bacteria in the intestine.
Okay.
So I'd be going ketogenic diet, fiber. Make sure you're continuing on the longevity products. Maybe throw in the Women's FX, and then also I'd be adding 50 milligrams a day of zinc, picolinate, which is very important for all hormones. I'd be adding in about 400 micrograms or so of the ultimate selenium, which can protect you from some of the untoward effects of estrogen. And then I would be absolutely 100%, if you're not already, be using a progesterone cream or a progesterone supplement. Okay.
Yeah, he gives me 200 milligram capsule type.
Okay,
deal.
Good. And
so
he's on
that's
top
what
of it.
I was wanting to ask you, if you thought that was as good as progesterone cream, or should I ask him to prescribe a progesterone?
You know, you're going to have to see. The advantage of the cream is you get a nice sustained release delivery. It kind of gradually goes into the system, plus it goes right into the blood, so your liver isn't going to be involved. If you eat it, if you swallow a pill, then it has to get processed by the liver, and then you get this big dose, and then the dose drops rather than a nice gradual sustained release. On the other hand, you get a bigger dose with the capsule, so you're going to have to see which one works better. Personally, I always try the cream first. It's much gentler and much more benign. That way, it's kind of gradually enters into the blood rather than getting a big hit all at once. But you're going to have to see how you respond. All right, Brenda, I got to go. Thanks so much for your call. Appreciate it. All right, Steve, you get the last word. What's going on, man? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Steve.
All right. Been making a couple of notes here, and, well, your guests have been on there. I believe the lady was just talking about testosterone. Is that the hormone pellets that they insert underneath the skin for like 5 to 6 months? Yeah,
yes.
And the problem with them, I believe, is they're detrimental because it stops and derails the body's natural production in healthy levels.
Yes, that's a good point.
It's not. It just stops the entire production because it senses that it's there and
that's right.
Over. Maybe it could be many times the level that the people need. But
that's
anyway,
that's the big problem. Hey, Steve, we're out of time, buddy. We're just out of time.
No.
I know. I'm sorry. You got to call in earlier, man.
I did.
I got to let you go. Call in Monday. Call in our next program Monday. I'm sorry, Steve. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening, friends. Check out my website, brightsideben.com, as well as pharmacistben.com. If you're interested in purchasing any of the longevity products, of course, truthtreatments.com for our Truth Skin Health.